was a nice definite end to the music there. Hello!
Hello.
There's the stream. It's happening.
What?
I'm reliably informed.
Since when?
Since 5 minutes and 19 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah! We haven't been on it for 5 minutes and 19 seconds. We've been on it for 25 seconds.
26, 27.
OBS keeps track of these things. I'm not personally counting. Hi, Kiro. How you doing?
Hi, Kiro.
There's the Kiro.
Kiro is here.
Do you know who else is here? This is Adrian von Ziegler.
Yay.
The lovely background music. Thank you very much.
In the flesh.
Oh, God, bagpipes. Always bagpipes.
It's Adrian von Ziegler in the room with us right now.
Yes, they're joining the stream. They won't talk and they won't appear in the voice thing on the side of the screen, but they're here. Trust us. Yee. Hop on over. Swoosh. We're here with Suit Cat, Snuggle Cat, and
The 3 moods.
Yes.
The 3 moods. Yeah. What the fuck are we talking about today?
So I thought I'd better point out, given that it is December now, and we said we finished this at the end of the year, and the last Sunday of the year is the 25th, which I think is reliable to say that we probably won't be streaming then. That makes this the third last VIA stream, the penultimate.
Oh.
Possibly even more so, because I'm probably going to be out of town next week and thus not participating in stream.
Righty-ho.
So we won't even have Ragdoll to keep us on track.
I know, we're going to be talking about just absolutely nothing to do with VIA. But on the other hand, significantly less maths.
Yeah.
So it balances out.
Unless you start monologuing.
Which has happened, but usually, someone's there to kick me in the shins. Guess who? That's Hysteria. I think the week after that should be fine. Assuming we're not absolutely knackered from social contact.
It's fine. I will have slept the entire Saturday, so...
Yeah, so I don't know if there'll be a stream on Saturday. Or group stream. And like next week there's Kiro's out for stream. December's a time when it's difficult to get people together because everyone's getting together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Social contact, I know. Human beings.
I mean, I mostly gave end of the year just as a very obvious, this is a date that we can all agree upon when it happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, alternatively, we could make the 1st of December stream the end of VIA, but that feels too, like, beginning-y to be the end.
Yeah.
We can make that the stream where we talk about what we've done in the year and what we want to do next year.
Yeah.
Oh. Just have a general fun group doodle time.
Yeah. But again, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about? I like how you saying, what are we talking about today with VIA, somehow turned into a spur to not talk about VIA.
I know, right? I mean, it was good to know that there's only 3 streams left, probably.
Yeah. 2 with Ragdoll. 3 in
but
general.
it does mean we need to figure out shit.
Let's get stuff sorted. Okay, so last time what did we talk about? We talked about the quests in the Floating City and the Golden City. They were the 2 things I remember.
Yes.
So in the Floating City, it's to do with trying to bring all the factions together to sort things out so that the whole thing doesn't explode or crash. And in doing so, you have to get all the leaders to meet and or fake a leader in the form of Jonathan. And yeah, that's that side of things, I guess. And in the Golden City, you have the what did I call it? The
Illuminants?
Illuminants? Yeah, Illuminants. who are basically running things, but they never actively interact with anything. They do so via their vicarious voice, who is the big cool suit of armor that Chibi drew. I still haven't updated the page because I've been too busy doing admin to do admin. There's a lot of admin.
Admin is the enemy of us all. Even in game.
Which is hilarious to say that, seeing as last time we talked about, right, how's the plot going here? And it's like, well, the plot is admin.
Admin.
It's all admin.
It's admin and politics. That's
write what you know. that's the golden rule of the Golden City. Write what you know. So we have the voice who is acting vicariously through. The Illuminants are acting vicariously through the voice, his character, who is, to all intents, the person who goes around telling people what to do. And part of the story is to, if you want to try and fix things, is to basically replace the voice with someone else who won't do what the Illuminants say. Because honestly, the Illuminants don't actually know what's going on, because they don't interact with it at all. They just give out commands and assume that they get done. So you can have the choice as to who to replace the voice with, and the choices are Volric, which is bad, or Little Bucket Boy, who is good? Question mark.
It's a Bucket Boy.
I mean, I'm sure in like an actual game there'd probably be like maybe some third option, but I don't really want to think up another character for that.
Yeah, it's one of the hermit crabs. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. One of the hermit crabs.
Hermit crab for president.
Hermit crab for president. Will it or will it not last longer than a lattice?
Probably will last longer, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's most of what we talked about last time.
Pretty much. I can't remember if there's anything else.
Probably talked a little bit about Sexy Wizard because I remember drawing him last week.
You just wanted to draw Sexy Wizard, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think...
He's mostly just more admin.
Sexy Wizard's whole thing, from... I think we mostly talked about it at the stream before. We probably did touch on it last stream.
Yeah.
Is that life and death, when you first meet them, tell you that there's something wrong and vaguely what's happening and so on and so forth. They're not sure why or who's causing it or anything like that, and they ask you to investigate them. They give you a list of potential suspects, including Sexy Wizard, because they're sexy and a wizard, or evil wizard. I think they're evil wizard, but also Sexy Wizard.
Evil Sexy Wizard.
Evil Sexy Wizard.
That's a sexual title.
It's important to make sure both of those things are true. Yeah, and they're a suspect because they're doing weird things. Turns out the weird things they're doing have absolutely nothing to do with life and death, but are something else. I feel like the evil sexy wizard should probably, at some point, maybe right at the end, if you've done good things, they should probably in some way help you. Not necessarily to help you, but I don't know. I feel like they should turn out to be somebody who is at least of an assistance in an aspect that benefits them. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those things of like, hey, you broke into my wizard tower room that I can't get back into and got some stuff from me. Okay, fine. As thanks, here's a thing.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. I found it.
I don't know what it was.
Whether it's like an actual helpful thing, like it's like, okay, fine, you can borrow this thing that I'm working on to do a thing, but only once. Or if it's just a, hey, here's a shiny pebble I found. Neat, huh? Go away.
I mean, I do love that idea of just like, oh, you've done stuff for me. God, I guess I have to give you a reward. Here is some stuff I found, I guess. Good luck. It's stuff, for sure. It maybe does things. I don't know.
Yeah, seems pretty reasonable.
It's not my area of expertise, okay?
His area of expertise is incomprehensible gibberish.
Yeah, exactly.
All we know is that the pieces he needs can at least be semi-replaced with pieces of old equipment that he's scrounging up from the golf course forest.
I guess that's still an open area. Is what exactly do we do at the golf course forest? Or also known as Kiro's forest area, with a ruined technological city inside of it. Just specify it's not actually a golf course.
No, it used to be a golf course.
It used to look like it used to be lovely manicured, infinitely stretching lawns that were just awful.
Like a golf course.
Like a golf course. We wanted it to embody everything wrong with highly technologically advanced cities. It's like token nature, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That was the token nature in the city.
Yeah.
And then it all got destroyed.
I guess the main question is like, what do we like find out there? Like, what we go in there? Sure, we can go in there for like a number of reasons, including we're the escort quest for the JRPG heroes. I don't know. But like,
I mean, presumably we learn about the history, right? We learn about what happened. Have we actually discussed what exactly did happen? Like, there was a PhD. It went bad. Do we have any more specifics?
I mean,
is there any way we can
need more specifics? Because not all games that have an apocalyptic event in the past really go into that much detail of how and why it happens. Like, I just finished watching a friend play Nier Replicant the remake, and that game just kind of goes, oh yeah, 1400 years ago an apocalypse happened and humanity almost died. That's it. That's all the details you get. Oh, and by the way, we decided that the way to fix this was to remove people's souls from their bodies and to just wait it out. It's like, sure, I guess.
That seems reasonable.
I mean, I think like the why isn't really important because by that point you've seen wizards.
Yeah.
And so when you're told like wizard PhD thesis that went wrong, you can kind of imagine like, okay.
I think maybe if the why isn't that important, maybe it's the how that is. Maybe the how is either being like, there's an aspect of the how that is being used by Fame and Fortune, or there's an aspect of the how that we can use for something else.
So, based off of just like the effect of what it had, because it seems like what happened is, okay, we've got this PhD thesis thing, and then the whole thing exploded, literally and figuratively. Everything is just mashed over. There's a splurge of life essence that just turns this entire desert. Now it's just a forest that's inhabitable by any of the people, and also all of the people are dead, and some of them are in the sky. And also now the plants have gained sentience and are walking around and going on to RPG hero quests. It just feels like to me that like it's like the lions have escaped from the zoo type situation. Like everything is in their nice, neat boxes of this is how things work. And then the PhD thesis exploded, took a sledgehammer to it, and now everything's just sort of recalibrating how existence works. And now we've got a whole bunch of new species that are just sort of coming up from the cracks, because now they can. It's like, we've got a mass extinction event, essentially. It's like, we did the reverse of a meteor. Instead of something coming up from the sky, we blew something into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've killed off all the dinosaurs, and now the mammals are taking over. Except in this case, it's the lawn has been killed off, and the plants are taking over. And the lizards.
And the robots are still just pottering about.
Yeah.
Having a lovely time.
In regards to Fame and Fortune, I do think that, like, they certainly, like, encouraged whatever the fuck was happening then. But also, like, they didn't know it would lead to this. They just saw a mass extinction event happen and thought, well, isn't that neat? We can probably use that. And then they, started doing other stuff for 1,000 years because they don't care about time.
I'm just wondering if once we eventually do all the things around and then whatever happens with Fame and Fortune, I'm wondering if any of the knowledge from that catastrophe could help us solve the problem. I like linking things together. I feel like if we have this huge historical event, there might be some way of connecting it to the present. There might not be. We've only got 3 days to talk about this. This might be completely incidental. But ultimately, we don't know how this whole thing ends. We don't really know how we're going to solve the problem of Fame and Fortune. And we also have this big weapon from the past, basically. And I'm like, can we connect these together, maybe? I don't know. Do they deserve to be connected? I don't know.
Now, I guess the next question is, because we've got multiple sort of endings here, but basically they fall into the category of you helped Fame and Fortune out to some extent versus ruined their plans. But right now, yeah, with neither one of them do we really set how to get rid of them. Now, I think in the ending where you've messed things up so much that you've made the sun explode ending, you've hearkened the apocalypse. I don't think there's any way of dealing with them at that point. It's just a matter of can you survive the boss fight?
Yeah.
And if you survive, congratulations, you now exist in non-existence.
Yeah.
Hooray! The void!
Good job!
Good job.
Sorry, what was that, Kristen?
I was just saying it's a big bad boss fight and you just feel crap afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The boss fight did not fix your bad play.
Yeah.
Bad playthrough.
It's like the what's it called? The one ending of Undertale where you just kill everyone.
Genocide.
Yeah, the genocide run of Undertale.
Which I've not seen.
Congratulations, you've now managed to fight the hardest boss in the game. Do you feel good about it, son?
The
I still don't
answer
think
is
I've seen
yes.
that.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, I remember my playthrough of Undertale. I thought I was doing everything good, and that I was saving everybody and being nice. I guess I won't spoil specifics. But there was basically the first boss. Well, maybe not the first boss. Might be the second boss. I didn't know there was a way not to kill. I thought it was supposed to be a kind of tutorial on, oh god, killing feels bad. Okay, from now on I won't. And I thought, okay, I've done it all good. I've not killed it. It turns out there is a way of doing it. And I felt bad. It was the only thing.
Yeah, Undertale's pretty good at doing that.
It's good. It's a good game. Everyone play Undertale.
But yeah, on the flip side, so that you've got then the stuff in the middle where you help them, but not so much. You don't help them so much that they can make the sun explode now. In which case, in those endings, you might be able to stop them if we come up with a way of stopping them? ? And then in the you fixed everything ending, I'm thinking it'd be sort of like with so the Ganon boss fight in Breath of the Wild is different depending on what you do. If you can go run in there yourself and just fight him in your underwear with a stick, and that's a viable option. Or maybe not a viable option, but the game will let you do it. In which case, the boss fight is hard and he has a bunch of health, and there's a bunch of mini bosses you have to fight beforehand. But if you go and rescue the souls of the old heroes, they'll basically fire a bunch of laser beams and nuke out his health to help you beat him. So yeah, it might be the case of if if you find out what the heck was going on, and if you can get what you need from Sexy Wizard and/or I'm thinking the Forest Witch is more like actually helpful in this
Oh
case.
yeah. The Forest Witch is who we actually go to try and work out how to solve things, and also play a game with pockets.
Yeah.
I'm now
It's a fun-
thinking that like the witch,
just,
like
just in Bucket Boy.
I love Bucket, but I'm
Okay,
thinking like the Sexy Wizard gives you like random junk from their pocket, and you bring it into the Forest Witch. And the Forest Witch looks at it and is just like, this is why I hate wizards. Like, he just gave you the stuff that could help you save him, and you didn't even know it.
This could help save the world. It could also destroy the universe.
Why did he have that?
Oh, even better, even better. So we know that Sexy Wizard is scavenging bits of this old equipment for his own research thesis, but doesn't need like all of the equipment there, because like whatever, who the fuck cares? This isn't part of his thing. And it's like, right, okay, I was scavenging through these things, these bits fell off, I don't need these bits, it's junk to me, throws it into your hands, because whatever. And then it's like, hey, actually, this is sort of a key component to a certain aspect of the machine. Congratulations, you've got, like, uranium in your pocket.
Exactly.
It's a good time.
So yeah, I'm thinking, yeah. So if you manage to clear up everything with each of the areas, and also clear up with what's going on in the forest, and sort of clear up some aspects of the wizards. And by clear up, I mean congratulations, you are never going to the archive again. You now have a massive loan.
It's a bad time.
Christy, are you still on Aggie? Wrong in Aggie?
I'm not an Aggie because
Okay.
the internet's really bad,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
fine.
want
Just wanted to check.
risk the art being erased. But thanks.
Yeah, I noticed your account, so I just wanted to check.
I do wonder. I'll spend a bit of time looking into seeing if there's something different we can do that isn't so like, so that if you go offline you can keep drawing, and then when you come back online it just appears or something, so that you don't have to worry about things being jittery.
Yeah.
I'll look into
I
it.
just hope my internet will be better next year.
Well, I would like to think that theoretically there's a thing that would make it so that I didn't matter, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If not, I will simply go and win the lottery and buy you a new computer. It's that simple.
Just do that real quick,
Yeah, I'll do that.
Chris, I know you're an algebraist, but I hope you have enough probability theory underneath your belt to know why that's not a very viable idea.
Yeah, look, I know probability. Look, there are two options. You win or you lose, so it's 50-50, right?
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Back with payment for it. Okay, so we know
She's gonna leave me with that.
we know the effect of the machine from the failed PhD thesis more or less just sort of punched a hole, and now sort of how life works is having to reorganize itself. I mean, by this point it more or less has, but there's still like holes where you can more easily slip between the cracks, quite literally, and end up in the back of Life and Death's house. Do you think maybe we could use that to, like, yeet fame and fortune into the sun?
Maybe. If the machine is sort of messing around with sort of cracks in reality. Yeah, I'm wondering if that is a way that we can. Maybe that's the only way we can actually properly affect them. If they're sort of outside of the sphere of influence of reality, we can't really stop them in any normal way. Not with the sort of finite span you're dealing with. So maybe that's the only way, Again, we're going into the limitless world of metaphysics. Also, I keep forgetting how these hats work. That's
Yeah.
I keep putting the head hole there, even though it's supposed to be there. That's not how these. It's a very thick fabric. Otherwise, sorry, but yeah, that seems like a good.
Yeah, because we know in the Fame and Fortune destroy everything ending, it's like, right, we're unmaking causality. The whole world is just unmade. But if we can, like, if the way of stopping them isn't so much stopping them, it's like we're just gonna put you underneath a cup, essentially. We're gonna make a little pocket dimension where reality doesn't work quite right, and we're just gonna stick you in there, and then just toss you outside.
That's how the game. That's how the Forest Witch explains what you're gonna try and do as an analogy. Is you see the spider and you see this cup.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you have to think about. Do that. Voiceless protagonist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that of just like you get access to a device that lets you essentially just like yeet them in the outside, to use the cup metaphor, just throw them outside. What's the outside? Well, it's outside of space and time, I guess.
Yes.
It is very outside.
It is as outside as you can be.
You know everything. Well, that's inside,
Yes.
and we're gonna throw them outside. Where is that? That question doesn't make sense.
Well, they got what they wanted. They're in a reality where they make the rules. It's just that they're the only ones
There.
in this little reality bubble.
Okay, so that's a bit Dishonored 2 ending.
Oh yeah.
You got the reality you wanted.
Yeah.
It's just not necessarily the one you thought you'd get.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is a bit weird.
The end of what was the name of that point and click adventure game you played, where we all just kind of went, "That did not go where I expected."
Oh, Trouba
It's like, we've defeated you. You've gone through this portal, and now you're on a tiny little asteroid with a gas station.
Yep.
That was a game.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed that. We need to play more weird point and click games. That's next year. Entirely weird point and click games.
I mean, I'm sure we can find some.
Oh, I have some. Don't worry. I bought some for spooky season, but didn't have time.
Machinarium when.
Oh, I love that game. I'll play it. I'll play that on stream. That's got a great soundtrack. Some of the music of that game is in the rotation for stream music, opening music for the stream. Clockwise operetta. It's the only time in a game I've probably talked about this quite a lot on stream. It's the only time in a game that I have actively backtracked to listen to music.
Oh, and also, the Kingdom of Loathing people released a new game recently, and those are sort of that borderline between weird point and click and just weird RPG and just weird.
Just weird. I'm happy to play West of Loathing or Kingdom of Loathing, or no, Shadows Over Loathing. That's the new one. Very silly, lots of puns. But I kind of prefer it when it's a game that's like, you know, those games are very clearly from the outset, this is comedy, right? I like it when games like Trouba Brook go, hey, we're gonna have a nice cozy adventure in the mountains and gonna have a good time. By the way, here's somebody from another dimension.
We have gone off the rails.
I love that. I love it when games go off the rails. There was a series of games. I played the first one, called Siberia. I think the third one came out recently. And I wouldn't say it goes off the rails, but it certainly wasn't what I was expecting. So I'm kind of tempted. I have the second one. I haven't played it. I'm kind of tempted to play those on stream. But anyway, we have this game.
Yes.
Before Chibi says it.
I was gonna say it. Good job reading the room. Yeah, because I feel like that's kind of the solution to like what's in the forest. The forest is history and also sexy wizard is there, evil wizard is there. Gives you a thing, you go to the forest witch. The forest witch explains, well, if you find the source, you just put a cup on it, slide a little paper on it, yeet it outside.
Okay, we've got our two MacGuffins. We need the cup, we need the paper.
Yeah.
What are the MacGuffins?
What's the metaphorical cup? What's the metaphorical paper? And like one of them is given to you by evil wizard. Where do you get the other one from? If there's two components to this.
I mean, it might be something where it's like a place. Like the cup is a place.
Well, I mean, it's also because essentially what we're doing is we're also making just like a little mouse trap.
Yeah,
and so
basically.
With mousetrap, it's usually here's the thing that contains the mouse or whatever thing, and here's the thing that draws it in. So it's...
we need spider cheese.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, we don't need spider cheese. We need fame and fortune cheese.
Fame and fortune. God, that sounds really wrong.
Well, what I was thinking was, I can kind of imagine the scene already. It's sort of like the forest witch sort of standing by a window explaining, we need to construct something that has this particular shape and this particular form so that it could correctly act as a conduit for all of this energy. Meanwhile, out the window behind her is a massive building in the forest covered in vines, which is exactly that thing.
Ooh, final boss fight in the middle of the forest.
And so I just imagine that the idea is that we're supposed to get fame and fortune into this place and then slide the paper, as it were, and then that entire place will just be sort of thrown out through sort of the what's left of that old city is what's going to be thrown out of reality.
Yeah. It's also fun because it's like a where it started, where it ends kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Also, yeah. Also fun because it's indeed like, I haven't really thought about it, but like, I don't see fame and fortune like being around in the forest, which would make sense with that.
Yeah,
like, they aren't just like.
They've been there once before and everything exploded, so there's not much point.
Yeah, exactly. That area is done with, their quote-unquote plan, whatever the fuck that is. So they can move on from that. They're not gonna go back there. Why would they? That's a forest. But you see them in, like, basically every other place. If not straight up every place.
Every time I try and draw sexy wizard, they look different.
So, in RE4, at least the original one, I don't know if they've done this for the remake, you've got the gun salesman who just shows up everywhere.
Yeah. What you buying?
Yeah, what you buying. And I mean, game mechanic-wise, it's just so that regardless of where you are, you can... Because RE4 is where they sort of fell off the horse, as it were, and went from, oh, this is a survival horror to now action horror, and you can shoot him up. We're big action hero guy who is serious but also funny quips, haha. So in that sense, you need some sort of way of refilling your items and stuff like that. And Devil May Cry does it by going right in between menus. You've got time to mess around with stuff, and it's sort of outside of any sort of logic of the game. And then Bayonetta does it by going right. Rodin literally is an interdimensional bar where he sells you guns and stuff. But with this, it's just like, right, here's just some dude wearing a lot of clothes and a big coat. He's got guns he can sell you, or he'll buy pretty trinkets you find, and it's just in the weirdest places. Like we're in this cathedral thing that nobody else goes to. Here's that guy again. It's the same thing with Fame and Fortune, and actually probably like all of the Mimbles in general. It's like, but Fame and Fortune more so.
Yeah.
So the Mimbles you'll just find in places where it's like, that's a weird place to put up a shop, but whatever, it's Mimbles. And then Fame and Fortune are just weirder places to set up shop.
Yeah.
So like you'll find Mimble stores in the Golden City, but for some reason Fame and Fortune have their store like 3 doors down from the Illuminance's door, and it's like, how did you get in here? The Mimbles are at least outside.
Yeah, like the Mimbles are like, they were in weird places, but they still adhere to like some of the rules of society. Like, they still cannot get further into the Golden City than, you know, their armor, like, clothes worth, like, you know, fashion points. And then Fame and Fortune are just right in the inner, like, sanctum of the city, just like you arrive there in this grandiose like music and moment, and you see the voice of the council, and then like off to the side you just see Fame and Fortune just settling into place with their little carts.
So, hey, do you want potions? I want
Just
whatever got you in here.
Like, you've gone through like, first of all, an extremely tough boss fight with the door person, and also just like many hours worth of, no, you cannot go in there. And you have to come back later, you have to like look better, or many hours of snide comments from the Golden City people, and then Fame and Fortune are just there.
Yeah, and game mechanic wise, it's like, oh, this is just here to help the player character, because it's like, hey, we're gonna have some boss fights going on here. Sure would be nice if there was a shop.
Yeah. So as a player, if you're not really paying attention, you're like, oh, good, they gave me a shop to stock up on things. But if you're thinking about the story, like, what? What?
Yeah, like if you think about it for like 2 seconds, you're like, how did you get in there?
Because I think so. In Psychonauts 2, again, you've got a store thing where it's like, oh, we can stock up on these pins that give you various powers or healing items. And you can access the store as you're going to the final boss fight, where it's like, oh, everything's gone crazy, there's a storm brewing, everyone's been like sucked up into this giant hurricane thing made by your great aunt, and you're running to go try and catch her and stop her. And like, it would be weird, except the framing of it is basically she ripped up a bunch of things, and the store, which you interact with through like a computer terminal thing, one of those terminals got yeeted into the forest and landed in the path that you're in. So it's like, oh, hey, this works. Let me go buy some things real quick and then go deal with my great aunt.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny things like that in that game. But yeah, this is very much a wait a minute.
Hold up.
Now the wizard doors sort of make sense, because those just sort of appear wherever they feel like.
Yeah.
And or
They
take
don't
over a door that
control
no one's
that
using.
either. They don't control where wizard doors go.
They say they do.
They say they do, sure.
They understand the
They
forces
find the
behind
door
it.
like, hanging like 12 meters off the ground and you see a wizard falling out of it and they land on their face. And they're just like, yeah, as intended.
The forces of this are understood. They're understood to hurt.
And then you're just like, you have no idea. Cool, good to know.
So you get down into the main depths and you always find two things in these weird areas. One, you will find a wizard door in a weird place because you need access to the wizards for magic things.
Inconvenient place.
and you will find fame and fortune in a weird inconvenient place, and it's like, how?
Oh, that is a perfect excuse to do like environment practice. Just like doing digital paintings of just like a sewer or a forest or just something like that, and then just stick a door in it. And it's like, great, practice.
Uh-huh.
And practice environment design while also doing Project Via. I wish I'd thought of that several months ago.
Yeah.
I'm gonna practice painting a lovely cityscape, and then here's just a door.
Here's just a door. It's weird. It's in a weird place. It's also upside down for some reason.
Wizards.
Has a do not disturb sign to it, even though it leads to nothing.
Well, that's why you shouldn't disturb. There's nothing there. What's the point of disturbing something that's not there? Do not disturb is just to stop you wasting time, you know?
We've gone into this cave where there's all these weird, all these weird ruins, and we've got what appear to be feral lizard people just chunking rocks at us, and here's a random wizard door, and Fame and Fortune have set up yet another weird shop.
Yeah, exactly.
The two constants in this game.
I also love, because that definitely implies that Fame and Fortune have like set up shop in the wizard tower as well. Like, you know,
Somehow, yeah.
like, what? Hold on, how? What? They just like found like an empty spot underneath like a radiator or something that you somehow can get into, and it's just like, what? How does this work? I mean, it's the wizard tower, and I know I shouldn't be asking that, but also, what?
I mean, the wizards aren't using it, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they say.
Like in our library on campus, there's a bunch of little study nooks in the stacks. But the stacks are like squished. So the building as a whole has 3 floors. The stacks have 5 within the same vertical space. Because the floor in the stacks is just like a slab of concrete. And then you're going up these weird, just old metal staircase between the stacks. And then every so often there'll be a door that leads to the more normal part of the building. And then within the stacks, there are these little study nooks where if you don't know that they're there, it's just like, oh, books, books, books. Oh, hello. Here's a person taking a nap on a chair and their computer is up playing, I don't know. So it's just like weird little cubby hole of like, what's this doing here? Well, no one else is using it. Why not?
Neat.
And if Fame and Fortune are sort of the primordial Mimbles that are closer to whatever it is that the Mimbles and the wizards are descended from, yeah, I imagine they can just get into the wizard tower.
Yeah.
I forgot about the phrase primordial nimbles.
It made me laugh. But yeah, they're just in there, and the wizards don't really question it because they can probably buy coffee off of them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna question who these people are, but you know.
I was sort of thinking like the commerce of the Mimbles in general probably allows them to get into places that other people would require a bit more effort. And so when you were thinking about like talking about like what amount of armor you would have to have in the Golden City to get in a particular place and what style and so on and so forth. I kind of like the idea that the Mimbles are sort of like, they're so useful that they're just sort of honorary. The armor, they don't have to go to the same amount of effort, so they just sort of like have knitted armor.
Yeah, they don't need to like. I imagine they don't really need to wear armor. They just need to look nice.
Yeah,
you know?
I just wanted to see a Mimble in knitted armor. That's all I wanted, really.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be quite nice.
It's like with those, you can find like hats and whatnot, like knitted or crocheted hats that are made to look like knights' helmets or whatnot. And it's like that's what they're wearing. Like it's all just cloth, but it just looks like armor. And the Golden City people are just kind of like.
At least you're wearing.
Yeah.
You're wearing it.
They've put in the effort, you know.
You know, they've dressed up in their Sunday best and are going to the church of the Golden City, where everything is materialistic. They've done it.
Also, I don't know how sexy works. Is this good?
Yes.
Cool.
I mean,
very sexy.
He's the wizard,
titties
so
out.
sexy works however he wants it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not my area of expertise, but I tried.
You did it. I say you did it.
Also thoroughly irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Sexy wizard is always relevant. That's my opinion on the matter.
Make themselves relevant.
Yeah, by being sexy. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and actually, if it is the case that there's something in what's left of the golf course city that we can use as sort of the cup to stick fame and fortune, and maybe, and it might not even come up as a thing, but that might be part of why the PhD thesis failed so spectacularly. Like, it's not necessarily that the theory was wrong. They just forgot that, like, the rest of reality exists, including the building that they're in. So, like
that's very academic.
Like that whole thing where physicists just sort of go, right, we're just going to ignore friction.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, hey, that's all nice for working with, like, theoretical stuff, but if you're trying to make an actual thing, friction exists.
Yeah, it's like, it's very much like the idea of, like, this is why you need to have an engineer on staff.
Yeah.
To just tell you, hey, this is real.
Cows are not spherical.
Yeah, cows are not spherical, because friction does exist, and with where you have built this particular rope bridge, wind is a thing, and it's going to blow the whole thing, going to make the whole thing wobble and eventually fall apart.
Yeah.
And that actually happened with a bridge. Like,
no.
And it wasn't a rope bridge either, it was a large suspension bridge. So basically, whenever you've got, like, a really large, like a really long bridge, not just one that goes over, like, 2 lanes of cars, they need to be able to sway a bit. So they need to be able to move, because if they're rigid, they're just, like, the force goes both ways, and it'll just break. So, and you see this with, like, really tall skyscrapers as well. Really tall skyscrapers, especially in windy places, will wiggle, because that basically means that the force is going into the wiggling and not into just knocking the whole thing over. But with the way this bridge was built, it was made in such a way that whenever it did the slight shaking, the shakes just got bigger and bigger and bigger, like with waves or like when you're playing with a slinky. And then the whole thing just fell apart. One of my instructors in grad school had an old VHS with a recording of it and brought it to class with a VHS player, in which case we're all sitting here going, why do you have a VHS player? And then we're like, oh, that bridge is falling apart.
But what about the
interesting
VHS
footage.
player then?
That was also falling apart.
Yeah, but that's for a different reason.
Yeah.
And God, I don't even remember the name of the bridge. It was like apparently it's like a really big, well-known thing in like physics and engineering circles of like.
Yeah, I've seen the footage. In fact, actually, I might have a book that.
But I can just imagine, like in this case, it's like, oh yeah, the theory was all fine. They just forgot to take into account the fact that they're doing this in a building. You're doing this outside of the lab, and you forgot that buildings exist.
Forgot that buildings exist, and therefore you like kind of like pushed like everything that exists outside the universe into a building, and everything else exploded. That's a feat.
On one hand, very interesting. On the other hand, no one is going to be around to be able to call it interesting because you just blew up the whole place.
Yeah.
Hang on, oh yeah, I forgot that. I have a book about things going wrong in the real world because people did maths bad. And because it's all about things going wrong, everything about the book's wrong, so the page numbers are backwards.
Oh god.
Awful.
That's hilarious, but
apparent-
also, yes, very awful.
Apparently, he had to fight the publishers to have this happen.
I mean,
the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. That's what it was called. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge.
Yes, that is that.
It's very wobbly. Yeah, everyone look. There is footage of it wobbling. It's amazing. It looks like it's made of plasticine. But it's not. It's made of concrete and metal.
Yeah, it's like there's concrete in here, and it's like, well, there's concrete everywhere now. And yeah, I mean, fortunately, people were able to get off, but like they had to leave their cars and whatnot on it. So you've got things where it's just kind of like, oh, the cars are all just falling over.
This is the thing I quite like about this story. I'm going to read. This is from Humble Pie by Matt Parker. Pie being the P.I. Opened in July 1940, the bridge quickly proved that being cheap to build had come at a cost. The thin road surface would move up and down in the wind. This was not yet torsional instability, but the classic up and down bounce that troubles many a bridge. We had Millennium Bridge over here when that was built. Obviously in the 2000s that had exactly the same problem. Although that was a footbridge, so that wasn't too bad. It seems in this case there was not enough bounce for it to be dangerous. People were told that it was perfectly safe to drive across a Galloping Gertie, as it had been nicknamed by locals.
oh no. That's
Having been reassured by experts that it was safe, people viewed it as a kind of fun ride, while engineers scrabbled to work out how the movement could be dampened. And then in November 1940, it collapsed. So basically...
Very safe.
Yeah, basically people, very human thing, are sort of like, this bridge wobbles and bounces in the wind. This is fun!
I mean,
oh no.
Let's
also,
go
like,
on it for fun.
everyone said it was safe, so it must be safe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories like that in that book.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, like I said, in order for bridges like this to work, it needs to be able to sway a bit.
Yeah.
Note the phrase of a bit.
A bit.
Just a bit.
I remember, speaking of the building one, I seem to remember there was like, at the time it was the world's tallest skyscraper, but I can't remember which one it was. It's not now. But there was like, pretty frequently in the building, people were complaining about it just vibrating and swaying, and it's like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. They're like mini earthquakes or something. We don't know what's happening. And it turns out that the what's the term? The harmonic frequency, the frequency that the building wants to sway at, happened to coincide, not exactly, but up to a magnitude, happened to coincide with the rhythm that exercise group were using to dance to in one of the top floors. And so just the length of the music that was going on and everybody sort of stomping backwards and forwards was enough to make the building sway slightly. And it made people sort of feel queasy on lower floors and stuff. So you got to be careful with resonant frequency, that's the word. You got to be careful with resonant frequencies.
Yeah.
Physics is weird.
Ooh, look at that. That's nice. Christy's posting nice things in the Discord.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I'm working on other things in Procreate.
No, that's
No, it's
that's the thing I said when this whole project started is that if it turns out that I'm the only one here and I'm the only one drawing, that's fine. Anything else is a bonus. So you being here and having a chat is a bonus.
Yay.
And never forget it.
I mean,
Always a
Christy has sort of accidentally supplied an incredibly important character to this entire story, so.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh, the Forest Witch.
The Forest Witch, which is going to help us just slip Demon Fortune into a cup, put a piece of paper underneath it, and chunk them out of reality.
I was just
Yay.
thinking because it's the only character I actually tried hard on.
And
I'm trying to draw them
good.
now. And I'm pretty sure that I'm trying to draw them from a picture that is old, and you drew a different version, but I might be wrong.
That's fine. There's like 3 different versions.
Spaghetti! It can change, don't worry about it.
She is versatile. She can change outfits.
Oh, that was what I was going to say about Evil Sexy Wizard. Is that I don't think they've been drawn similarly twice, and I feel like that's just part of them. They can just sort of change depending on their mood.
I mean, yeah. Listen, sometimes you just feel sexy in a different way.
Yeah.
You gotta show it visually.
What if today, different sexy? What if today, more jawline? Why not?
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's a gender mood, though. Wish I could. Yeah.
Adding is easy. I can give you some flesh tone plasticine. It's all good. You might look a little bit like Wallace.
I mean, look, amorphous blob is peak gender.
I want to look like Morph.
Or fun.
I just, you know, become blob, become jelly, become Flynn from your comics. turn into Jello. Have fun.
Yee.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up GIFs of Morph, and none of them show Morph morphing, which is a shame. Morph was like an early Aardman plasticine animation that just made a plasticine. Their whole thing was that they change into different things. They're called Morph. Sorry.
I was thinking of more from Treasure Planet.
I don't know what that is, which is unsurprising because it's me. I don't know what anything.
Treasure Planet's good.
I've heard.
Oh, was that?
it's good.
Was that the
It's
film?
the-
Was
Disney Space Pirates.
yeah? It was the Disney film that they made, and it just like inexplicably didn't make any money. Nobody really went to see it.
Yeah.
I love
But
that.
it is actually good. But it's just it happened to not,
Yeah.
and that sort of started the end of Disney's sort of golden era, or something.
Like, suffered the same fate as, like, Atlantis, I believe.
Yeah.
Or, like, nobody.
Yeah, they're both from around the same era. I mean, the big thing that sort of killed Disney for a while, I think, was actually Black Cauldron. Which, if you're sitting here going, I don't know what that is, there's a reason for that.
I mean,
I don't know what anything
I
is.
know what that is. I know the Black Cauldron because I used to watch it as a child and be really scared by the fucking bad guy in it.
Oh, is that the one with Tim Curry?
I don't know because I didn't watch with English voice actors.
That's fair. I think somebody shared a video of the villain's theme song, and I recognised it was Tim Curry. I don't know if that was Black Cauldron though. I don't know any of these films. At some point, you need to force me to sit down and watch these films.
We need to watch them on Discord together.
Yeah.
Watch party.
Watch party.
We will slowly drag Chris into the 2020s.
into the latter half of the 20th century.
And then we'll only be 20 years behind still.
It's closer than it is now. Watch party. Having fun with friends. Whenever there's something with 3 syllables, I always sing the Transformers theme, and I also haven't seen the Transformers, so... Which is probably evident by the fact that I just called it the Transformers.
The Transformers and the Pokemans.
The Pokemans.
Are you winning, son?
Are you winning, grandson?
Anyway, Fia, what's another question that needs answering?
Okay, so this is one that might be quite a simple question to answer. But it might also be quite a complicated one, which is why I think the simple answer is probably going to happen. What actually are Fame and Fortune trying to do? Specifically.
Take over the world.
Yeah, kind of, but it's slightly more metaphysical than that, right?
It's basically like not really as literal as taking over the world, but more like it's more like taking back their existence kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So how a slightly more tangible question. What are they actually like physically doing in order to do that?
Physically,
as physically as they can.
I mean, I think we talked about it, but I believe they're like mostly, whispering plans into people's ears to like, break everything. Just fuck up life and that's the day.
So what's that achieving? Exactly. I know you're answering these very nicely, and I'm just immediately throwing a question in your face.
It helps make sense for me as well. I think by like really fucking up life and Beth, not Beth.
Life and Beth.
Beth. By really like fucking up like life and Beth, there's too much like
I keep hearing Beth.
Creates too much of a backlog for them, which means there's too much stuff in the world, which means the world goes boom. Or like existence, reality goes boom.
So is it
like like overstuffing, something, and then it just implodes from the inside.
Yeah,
I mean, it might also be something with so if we've got that the initial explosion sort of like put cracks in reality and how existence works had to like resettle and is still resettling.
Mm-hmm.
It could be one of those things where it's like, right, okay, well, if we left this alone, it would just heal back up, and then yes, existence on this world is different now, but whatever, that just happens sometimes. But they're just they're doing the metaphysical version of just like picking at the scab.
Yeah. Because
like we are going to make it so that this hole does not close.
Yeah.
And if we keep poking it and keep poking it, eventually.
Mm-hmm. I think like the messed up PhD thesis was kind of like their realization of like, this is a thing we can do, and ever since then they've just kind of been like poking around and finding like, okay, what are the limits of what we can do to make this sort of thing like happen again?
Yeah, okay.
Like, what can we do? What do we need to do to just like mess with everyone to such a degree that eventually reality will break and we can, exist. No matter that fucks up everything for everyone else. They don't care.
Yeah, okay.
And this is why it's been taking a while, because reality is trying to fix itself.
Yeah.
Or, well, maybe not fix itself, but
It's like,
plug up the holes.
like a wound, eventually a scalp will go over it and it will heal. But they just keep trying to, like, pick at it, as you say, and trying to reopen that wound and make it worse.
And so in a sense, life and death making you really, really helped them because you have a lot of agency.
Yeah.
And they're like, great. We need somebody with a lot of agency who can do a lot of these sorts of things very, very quickly.
Yeah, because I think we discussed last time that the player character is kind of like an amalgamation of, like, soul people kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
different pieces stitched together.
We're like, we are to souls what October is to limbs.
Yes, essentially. It's like kind of like, okay, well, you exist kind of on this already like weird plane on existence where you're like, you can do a lot of things, even though you're not supposed to. Because you're supposed to be like a ghost that's in line to be sorted. Essentially a soul.
Yeah. But you've
But
been given a
you're not.
reprieve from the queue
Yeah.
to try and work out why the queue isn't moving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you went to the DMV and the line is taking too long, so the DMV people have hired you to figure out why the line is taking so long.
Yeah. That is an accurate
Hey.
summary of the story so far.
Hey, our computer system seems to be down and we can't process all of these license requests. Can you go like out back to see what's wrong with that? Thanks.
Just walking down the queue. Is anybody good with computers? And so maybe that helps explain why your character is like so proficient at things. They've sort of cherry-picked skills from different souls.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while for you to get used to it, so you level up and all that sort of stuff.
That also might explain why we've got like the 3 particular souls that we're made out of, because we have someone who knows how. So it's a little bit less of a thing these days because everyone's got GPS systems literally in their pockets. But they found out in a study a while back ago that like taxi cab drivers have really good memory. Just because of the job that they need to do. They're just really good at remembering where things are in relation to each other and how to get around. So they not only know the main way of getting to, say, the airport, they know a bunch of other alternate ways to get to the airport in case the main one just isn't working. So you've got the soul of someone with a lot of skill sets for just knowing how things sort of fit together and getting around. You've got the knowledge of someone who's sort of a little bit more martial, but then is also, you've got someone who's a little bit more martial with the person who's like from the city, stuck in sort of the close enough to administrative things to know what's going on, but can't really do anything because that's not part of their job. They're just sort of like a guardsman or something. And then you've got someone who's got magic skills because they're a wizard's assistants.
Mm-hmm.
And these things are all useful
great.
for a protagonist.
Yeah. What a coincidence.
Just don't look at the screen.
That's fine. They're doing great. they're helping.
And yeah, as you're going along, it's like, right, okay, I'm picking up more skills, but also I'm sort of working on my various admin skills that I came with.
All the good old admin skills.
Is that what the leveling up screen's called?
Yes.
I mean, that's what we jokingly call it with RPGs anyway. It's like, okay, we gotta do admin.
Yeah, pretty much. This game just leans into that, and instead of like skills, you have just a tab that says admin.
We don't shirk away from these words. We tell you as it is.
Mm-hmm. Any more questions, Chris?
Um,
And I mean, who knows? There might be some other souls that are mixed in there, but I think those are probably like the 3 big ones.
yeah, we got the main 3. Okay, we still don't really know what's happening with the Abyss, right? It's like their main story, so that's probably something to work out.
Mm-hmm.
We did briefly mention the character whose name we don't know how to pronounce.
Yes.
Who's like right at the bottom. Netherdenweir, which is an OOBS design, which is really very cool because it's an OOBS design.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it does legitimately look like something where it's like this only exists down where there's a lot of water pressure.
Yeah. It says, here's a myth that a large serpent was so evil it got banished to the sea and still lives there to this day. If you dive deep enough into the abyss, you can say that they say you can hear its voice whispering lies to you. That's the description that we got from Oobs right at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is an option. We have the whole light thing for sort of screwing the people over down there, but in terms of sort of what to properly do, what they want to do, how it ties into Fame and Fortune, where on earth Fame and Fortune are going to pop up. It's the most inconvenient place.
They're just sort of sitting in a giant bubble down at the bottom, all the way at the bottom.
It moves. It's just this little bubble like bouncing up and down. And you're swimming because, of course, you're in the water swimming, so you're just constantly going with it. Like, please let me in.
Like the Mimbles are at least sensible enough to have like little pods that they've set up shop in, but they're also higher up where there's like newer development, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So the stores are a little bit more sensible. And then you go further down and it's just kind of like, these clowns again. Literally.
Yeah.
Literal and derogatory.
I mean, they're also probably, like, right at the ocean blood pool. Just, where they like to peek inside.
I imagine the blood pools are not necessarily intrinsic to their plan, but probably, like, they help.
Yeah.
In some way or
Definitely helps
another.
that they're there. That means they can, like we discussed, you put the mayonnaise in the boiler room.
So putting mayonnaise in the boiler room. It's unpleasant.
Very stinky.
You go in through that blood pool and you just hear them have a conversation from, like, a different room where it's just like, how does that keep happening? I didn't put it there. Why do you keep thinking I did it?
I think I'm still scrunching my pictures up into this corner. It's just
Yeah,
see
you can,
nothing.
you can go wild.
I just felt because I'm used to we spent
Yeah.
like more than a year, I guess, at this point doing doodle streams together and sharing the canvas. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Christy's working in Procreate right now, and I'm finishing up some grading because end of the year.
yeah.
And I drew a cat and felt alright with that.
That was your contractual obligation. So it kind of works.
Sure. But yeah, what is the Abyss Society? To get back to that.
Yeah, what's the story of the Abyss? What do we do there? How does it help? How do we do good? The bad is the light, right? Shining everybody out.
Yeah, the bad
them.
is that is the light, and because that will basically like make the creatures deep in the abyss just have the worst fucking time and leave and maybe die. I don't know. Been like 7,000 years since they've seen the light. They might actually die from it.
Oh, good.
In any regard, it will just fuck up their entire ecosystem. So that's the bad thing. That's
Yeah.
And initially we had, I believe, the idea that they wanted to like destroy the Golden City, I guess.
Yeah, I think the idea was like, as far as earthly entities are concerned, the ones down here at the bottom of the ocean are really the only ones who were around when the golf course was a thing. So they're just looking up and going, oh, it's these assholes. I know what this is. Get rid of them. We don't need that anymore. Now, why they're saying that to the Golden City folks and not the wizards derogatory, who knows?
I mean, probably because it happened in the golf course city. Like, they probably only like half knew there might have been some wizards involved. But whatever happened, it happened in the golf course city. It happened because of them, probably, because nothing in the golf course city is gonna happen without at least like 15 years of paperwork. So it must have been them.
Must have been. Also, like, the people that like deep in the ocean, they probably don't know explicitly what happened and that it was a wizard that caused it. It was just this happened in this city.
Yeah.
It originated from there.
Mm-hmm.
That was the location. That's what we saw. We didn't know the individuals involved.
Yeah, I mean, why would they need to know? You know?
It's the good old Spanish flu phenomenon where everyone's like, oh yeah, it's the Spanish flu, and it's like, okay, it didn't come from Spain. It actually probably came from somewhere in the United States. It's just Spain was the first one to go, hey, there's this flu going around, watch out.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's just kind of like, oh, there's flu in Spain. It's a Spanish flu, and Spain's just kind of like, you motherfuckers.
There was an interesting thing. I didn't watch it, but somebody talked to me about it. They're sort of trying to work out how Spanish flu spread the way it did, because it spread in a very strange way, and in particular, it caused a lot of problems in Alaska, in like isolated communities. And one of the theories is that, like quite a lot of these things, it's a sort of avian-borne thing, but the birds didn't necessarily land there, and so the thought being is that there are a lot of bacteria flying up in the jet stream and sort of up in the sort of upper atmosphere, or viruses as well, I guess. And so those things sort of mutated within the birds, got spread around, and then just carried away in the incredibly high winds up in the high altitude, and then just sort of floated down to Earth where they just infected random people. And it's like, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
So planted up birds?
You can be rained on by viruses.
Cool, great.
Because
Thanks.
the geese are coughing up there.
I'm new fear unlocked, I guess.
New fear unlocked.
I mean, like, it's fine now. We've just been through another one, and that was, you know, mostly airborne, not stratosphere-borne.
But yeah, I think that's probably the case of, you know, happened in the golf course city. Must have been them. Fuck them.
Yeah.
For some reason, they're still around. We don't want this. But then the question, I guess, is like, how? How?
How?
Like,
How can we appease that without destroying a city? Like,
how can we appease that? And also, more my question was like, how do they want us to do it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, just go destroy a city as a bit. just do it, you know?
Okay, how about this? You need some sort of equipment to survive deep ocean, right? So you're probably going to have some sort of diving suit or something like that. You arrive at the deep sea people, and they're like, armor, get them! Thinking that you're somebody from the city. And so they, like, they implicate you as essentially being, you're one of them, we are going to you're going to be on trial as a representative of these people or whatever. And they're saying, unless you do something about it, we will, we will do bad things. So that could be like a setup, as like they believe you are part of that city.
Okay, so it's basically a Super Mario Sunshine scenario.
Yes, actually.
I think that's what Super Mario Sunshine that you just described there.
They're the Delfinos people. You are Mario.
You get arrested because you look like someone who did a crime. And then you get told to just fix shit.
The Golden City is Bowser Jr. So yeah, kind of something like that. It's a story idea at least, you know. Yeah. Precisely what that doesn't actually answer the question you asked, but which is what do they want you to do? But at least now they have a reason to ask you.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Super Mario Sunshine rules.
The Super Mario Sunshine. It does rule. It's a good game.
Yeah, it's a great game. Honestly, probably the only Mario game that I've actually ever played other than one DS game and Mario Kart.
I grew up with Mario World on the Super Nintendo, so it's like the first game I can remember.
I never had that much interest in Mario games. Other than nice. Sunshine, I was really into Sunshine.
Sunshine's cool. It's nice. It's a bit jank and unpolished at times, but it's nice. It feels different to all the other ones, you know? I like that.
My thing with older Mario games, which has been fixed in the newer ones, is always just kind of like, I'm never a big fan of games where it's like, one screw up and you're dead. So, like, with a lot of the old Mario games, you get hit, well, you're just fucked.
Yeah, the particularly like the first one is very unforgiving in a lot of ways. Whereas in Sunshine,
which is why I don't
button, so.
play games like Dark Souls personally, because it's like, while yes, some people enjoy that, I'm not really big fan of games where it's like, if I get hit once, I just have to do everything over again. Now, at least within Dark Souls, you don't have to redo as much. But with like the older Mario games, it's like, well, you got to redo that entire area because you misjumped and a Goomba hit you in the face.
Yeah. And if you do that enough times, back to the beginning of the game.
That's pretty bad.
And that's why that is why it took me so long to actually play Dark Souls, because I don't generally like those sorts of games. I don't really like hard games. And I don't care much about fantasy, so I was like, pass, not for me, thank you, goodbye. And then Bloodborne came along, and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty. and that's how I got into it. So yeah, so I agree with you on the general idea of like games that are just punishing for the sake of being punishing. I feel like the gameplay loop of Dark Souls makes a bit more sense. But
Yeah,
I
well,
absolutely understand how people wouldn't like it.
And more, like I said, more modern Mario games have dealt with that mainly by giving you more HP. And and I mean, I know why it was a thing. Like, ye old Mario was running off of arcade logic, where it's like,
insert coin.
We need to make it so that you have to stop eventually because we want more quarters. So, like, it's understandable why it was a thing. And it's not as much of a thing anymore, thank God. Because even with the Mario Maker games that still run on a lot of that same hard logic, and in some cases they're made explicitly for that hard logic. One, you don't have to really do them to progress, like they're just disconnected levels. And two, dying doesn't, you don't lose as much. Like, you don't have to restart the whole game if you lose a level in in the Mario Maker games.
Yeah.
And those are really the only ones that still run on the, hey, 2 taps and you're dead.
Kira says, never beat the Game Boy Mario. You kept dying over and over again. I don't think we had Mario Land 1 and 2 on the Game Boy. Very different games. But yeah, I never beat 1 because that has exactly that same sort of thing of, you know, the very similar gameplay to the sort of first game, but real tricky, real hard. Lots of spiders, if I remember. A lot of spiders. Very annoying.
Yes.
They jump around. And also, like, the Easter Island heads. A lot of those. Weird game.
Yeah.
Not as weird as its successor, but its successor was better. And it also invented Wario, so because apparently the people developing it didn't like Mario, so it was like a B team. Like, I don't want to work on a Mario game, so let's make a really stupid caricature of Mario.
And then make his own spin-off games.
Yeah, and then that became a thing in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mostly played Super Mario Sunshine, which I also never finished. I mostly watched my brothers play it. But there were a few levels that just really freaked me out for some reason. Mostly when there was like time limits involved.
There was
this
one
entire area where you had to like clean up like a hotel with a massive like electric manta ray shadow thing.
I was
and
about to
it's
say
just
that.
like,
Yeah.
no.
There's a time limit, and it's still swimming around putting goop, and it's really weird music, and it's spooky.
That and the level where you have to like clean a massive giant underwater fish monster's teeth.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
The stuff of nightmares, honestly.
There's some weird stuff in that game. Then the teeth come out as well when you spray on
Yes.
them. Yeah.
Just, every dentist nightmare you've ever had.
It's a time.
Meanwhile, you're also kind of drowning
Oh,
the
yeah,
entire
yeah.
time you're doing that.
You got to make sure you get air. Or like coins, I think, work as air.
Absolutely wild level. Anyway, how do you destroy a city?
Oh, there's also the sandbird. I remember that one.
Oh, yeah. I never
like
got to that.
It's like a flying bird made of sand blocks. And the sand blocks, I think, disappear the longer you stand on them. But there's also no ground. You're just flying over nothing.
Yeah. I think everyone, hates that level. Everyone who's ever played Super Mario Sunshine just loads it.
It's a good game. Everyone play it.
It is.
But it's very
really
much,
like
like I say, it's very much one of those level systems. You fail the level, you get kicked out of the level, then you can go back in. But there are like several hundred levels, and you can do them in any order, basically.
Yeah.
Well, not any order, but there are zones, and you can do whatever zone you want.
Anyway,
Right,
destroying cities.
yes, we have.
I like Chris that we've started like the Forest Witch character started as this like, oh, this is someone who's got like practical magic knowledge with all of this foresty stuff, and now we've just gone like, yeah, she's just going to talk to you about metaphysics.
It's
No,
still practical because she is just like, a wizard wouldn't explain this to you. Or
Yeah.
not in any way you'd understand. She just goes, I see this is nonsense to you. Spider, paper, cup, Bob.
Yeah, she's at least trying, you know? That's the point. I
That's
appreciate
what you're gonna do. I've laid out all the groundwork for you. You just have to, like, get them here. Like, she's very, like, practical in it, in the sense of, like, a wizard would all explain it to you, and also be, like, very interested in what fame and fortune are in the first place. And would probably join them for some reason, because, this is very interesting. I can
Wizard would
write a
just say the
PhD
word
thesis
chicken over
about
and over
this.
again.
You know she is not like any of the wizards, because she's actually trying to solve a problem.
Yeah. Some people earned this ability. They didn't just get it from sort of some weird fey inheritance. It's like, we need a cup like this, and then you look out the window and there's a big cup-shaped building.
What about that? I guess so. Could work. Let's go check it out.
I'm gonna say maybe, just so it doesn't look like I'm really stupid and unobservant. The answer's yes, but I'm gonna say maybe.
Depends what's on the inside.
Depends if you're gonna tell anyone else about this. I have something of a reputation to keep. Not much. And give it the indication of sort of vines growing up.
It could also be the case that parts of the relevant parts of the city, of what's left of the city, weren't necessarily visible from her house.
Well, I've drawn this as a massive skyscraper. So...
Yeah, but also we've got massive trees, so it could be
Yeah.
that, like, while we're going in, it's like, oh, we've moved some stuff out of the way.
I mean, it's very much like, the city where I used to go to college, to university, has, like, is very known for, like, a massive, like, church tower. I've walked around the church. If you, like, are, like, in the vicinity of the church tower, like, in the streets surrounding it, you cannot see it. It's very high up, but the houses are also pretty tall, and you cannot see it. You can be a street away and you cannot see the church tower, even though it's massive.
It's a good time. You can hide
Which is
there
very
and-
annoying if you're trying to use it as, like, oh, a point of, like, oh, there, I need to be in, like, the vicinity of that, I guess. And also the streets are all, like, circling around each other, so you get lost really easily. It's a great time. I really recommend it.
So what you want to do is you want to start at the church.
Yeah, just like teleport there.
Metaphysics.
Or maybe this discussion is happening not in her house, but in... Because we've got some designs of like some buildings that have been overgrown by a tree, so maybe this discussion is happening closer to the leftover golf course place
Hmm.
in a building where we've got a better angle. Who knows?
And I do still like the idea that she's been looking at it for ages. It's like,
I do like
can't see
that.
the forest
Maybe
for the
it's like-
trees, as it were.
It's like the case, like, she's, like, explaining this to you, and then you, like... like, she explains this to you in a different location. And you're just kind of, like, sent off, like, go find this building. And then, you know, you go back to her house because you have no idea where to go, and then you see it through the window. Like, what? You couldn't have said this. You couldn't have told me this. Really?
He's using the what is it called? This stochastic method, where it's like, right, I'm going to lead you down a path of questions and hope that you get the idea.
Mhm.
Hopefully you've got enough points in your wizard admin knowledge to be able to figure out what's going on with the cup metaphor. And then go, oh, she means the thing that I can see over there. Gotcha.
Yeah, you can only unlock this knowledge.
Oh, there's just a hard skill cap. You cannot progress with the story until
Yeah.
If
If
you
you
haven't
go
been
here
leveling this.
before, like, you reach that point, you can just, like, you can still look out the window and you can still see it, but it's just like, what's that? I don't know, it's not important. Go look for this location.
Just comes out, you get a prompt looking out the window, and it's like, you don't know what this is yet. It's very
Yeah.
clearly at some point.
Yeah, very, very, like, a useless, like, thing to say. Or you just look out the window and you get the prompt and it's just like, this is a nice view. Good window.
What a charming, unassuming view.
So unassuming. Don't question anything here.
It's like skill checks in various visual novel games where it's like, well, you don't have enough for that to work. You can choose it, but it's not gonna work.
It's like, rolling a nat 1 in a D&D thing. Just like, the DM has been, like, pointing this out, and you investigated a roll nat 1, so your character just has to go, it sure is a view. Yes, there's nothing to see here. Well, let's go. Let's be off. I've been in that scenario several times.
I mean, I've been in that scenario in real life where I'm sitting here going, I have the knowledge for this. The words have escaped me.
Yeah.
So I have nothing intelligent to say here.
Nope. There's just This is it. Uh, I'm so happy you're drawing a Delfino citizen.
They're down there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Nintendo's lawyers. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Shush, don't tell Nintendo we're stealing their property. It's not a Delfino, it's a Feldino.
Feldino. They were the dino
Just
species that fell down to the bottom of the ocean.
just turn the leg area into a bunch of like jellyfish tails. It's totally legally
Easy.
distinct
Yeah,
now.
you know, like how they changed Tentacle from a water type to a land dwelling creature in Pokemon. Just
Yeah.
I really like your witch. Well, both of them.
The who?
The witches you drew.
Hey. But one of them was yours.
That's why I say it. It's done now, and I'm really happy with it.
I'm glad you like it. Always like trying to do that. Drew that more accurately than I did Sexy Wizard, but
Your Sexy Wizard is great. We've been
It
over
looks
this.
really cool.
But it's also just a total dweebus.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I mean, you don't become a wizard without being just a total dweebus about something.
Oh yeah, exactly.
sexiness and dweebusness are not mutually distinct.
Yeah, not
Also,
mutually exclusive.
Dweebusness is a word.
Dweebusness, yes. For when you're just such a dweebus.
Good enough. Hey everybody, have you tried today doing good enough?
Yes.
Excellent. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
End of statement.
Yee. I do just think, tangent, that the
What?
Delfino people are very, like, funnily shaped. They're so, like,
They're a good shape.
I just like the way they look. What the fuck are they? Who knows? They're
Nobody
here now.
knows.
I mean, that's how it is with most of the species in Mario, where it's just kind of like, what is this? It's a fun shape. That's basically it. Why is it shaped that way? Because it's a fun shape.
A lot of them are based on like plants or animals or fungus or whatever, but the Delphinos are just like, we put a tree on a blob.
Yep. And gave them a big nose.
Big ol' nose. Big schnoz.
And now they've arrested you. Have fun.
They've got a kind of Kirbiness about it, in as much as it sort of feels like they're a placeholder.
Yeah,
They're like,
pretty much.
we'll put this cute little thing there, and then we'll work out something better, and then you just get attached to it, and you're like, oh, I guess I kind of like.
Yeah.
It's the Furby phenomenon, where it's like, we're just going to put this as a placeholder until we design the actual hero. Whoops.
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 Whoops, they're
Now
friend
these are
shaped.
the Delphinos, I guess, and they're very friend-shaped. But also they arrest you for crimes you did not commit and are willing to throw you in jail for it. Even though you literally just arrived on this island with a plane.
Yeah, but you look exactly like the person who did it.
Exactly.
So,
And like the people who were with you are vouching for you, but also they don't fucking care.
Yeah, nobody actually defends you in court.
No,
Which is kind of...
like Peach goes Your Honor one time and that's it. She just goes, oh, but Mario. And that's
I mean,
it. That's the extent
but
of her
also,
defense.
would it be really appropriate for a foreign monarch to dictate what's happening in this island nation that they're just visiting?
I mean, she doesn't
diplomatic
have to
immunity.
dictate. She just can say, no, he was in my plane. Literally, while I was sitting next to him.
I reckon Mario should have diplomatic immunity, and the whole thing be called off. And then, you know, they leave, and it keeps happening, and they're like, oh, maybe it wasn't that person.
It's like, there's Peach, there's like the Toadstool, or whatever his name is, the old toad. The only old toad in the village. And like several toads who are also there. And none of them vouch for you.
Nope.
They're all just like, I mean, he was on the plane with us, but you know, you raise a good point of like, this guy really looked like him, so
I think
nothing
it might
we
be...
can do, I guess.
It might be one of those situations where it's like, oh, Mario always helps out with these things, so, you know, I'm sure he'll be perfectly happy to do this community service.
Yeah. It's
Meanwhile,
fine if
in the
we don't
distance-
clear his name, because he'll just do this stuff anyway.
Yeah, he'll help out. That's what Mario does, right, Mario? Just depressed-looking Mario face.
I guess. I don't even know these people.
Mamma mia.
We just
Said
have to
in
make
the-
sure it gets cleared from his record before we leave.
Yeah. As long as that's sorted. Otherwise, he won't be allowed anywhere near Princess Peach's castle. There's very tight security checks happen. You got a criminal record, you ain't getting any of that cake. Also, when I can't put a question mark as the face of the protagonist in these drawings, I give them a feather. That's my shorthand.
Yep. Feather protagonist. All outfits have a feather in them.
Did we ever work out a name for this game? Oh, it was admin
no.
or something like that, wasn't it?
Admin,
Adventure.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the acronym.
Acronym is admin. We
Yes.
haven't figured out yet what it stands for, but it's admin.
We got to work out that before we finish. What does admin stand for? And by finish, I mean finish the project, not today. You could do it today if you want. Work it out. You know, we're
Oh,
5
good
minutes
news,
before
we're
the end
never
of the
finishing
stream.
this and making anything, so we never have to figure out the name!
The name is Voject Priya.
I don't think I'll be of help with that because I don't know words.
Yeah, as we were saying when I tested out a little word game, it's like, you know, word games in a second language are tricky.
Yeah. Like, yes, I could probably come up with something that admin stands for, but also it won't make any fucking sense.
Oh, that was it. I was like, you know, you could do a thing where, like, the AD is adventure, so you don't have to do
Yeah.
every letter individually.
Adventure. Mario. Ah.
Adventures Mario isn't nearby.
Legally distinct. Make sure to Nintendo that this is has
Subtitle,
nothing
Your
to do
Honor.
with Mario. Adventures.
big old diving boots.
I just found a reverse acronym generator.
Ooh.
Oh.
Just give gibberish words.
Yeah. Will that help? Question mark.
I mean, I don't know.
We'll find out.
Well, only one way to find out.
But it will, if you type in a word, it will make a reverse acronym. And you could even sit there and go, right, I want to keep these words, change other ones.
Any good admin?
I am entering it here.
I mean, so far these are mostly just disconnected words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue.
I mean, you can list, like, you can select a, like, theme, I guess?
Is there a way to say, like, this letter should be a noun, this one should be an adjective, etc.? Or is it just whatever?
I mean, you can
See.
select adjectives. So I guess you can, like, do it by going back and forth.
Yeah, do different category things, check things you want to keep, and then...
I mean, you know, if I want, like, to keep, the, I meaning idiotic,
Yeah, fair.
then I can select that.
Adventure idiots.
Then, feelings. Mad. That's your mad idiots. This is going great.
It's going great.
I mean, we do have some magic mad idiots here.
Yeah.
So.
There isn't one for verbs. That's kind of annoying. I'll say they aren't, like... They're, like, mostly... like, the themes are mostly categorized alphabetical. Alphabetical. Except for the word astronomy. Which comes after the B words. It's like
it's working on moon logic.
a couple of A words, then it's baseball, bird types, and body parts. And then there's astronomy. And then it goes to Christmas.
That's how you get the Christmas star.
I mean, it also has dictionary at the top, but I think that's just a general category.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not actually a dictionary, it's just words pertaining to dictionaries.
And then it's just gonna give me a bunch of words I don't know.
I got
Like-
ne'er-do-well for N.
What? I don't even know how you pronounce that. Nucleolar.
Nucleola?
Nucleolar.
Nucleola. Nucleola. Something to do with biology. The nucleolus is a spherical structure found in the cell's nucleus, whose primary function is to produce and assemble the cell's ribosomes. And
Like
nucleola
that.
is
Okay.
pertaining to the nucleolus.
Also, how do you pronounce
Note! Sorry, you put it in all caps. Niant? It's
Lion depicted swimming horizontal. What?
represented in a horizontal position as if swimming. What?
Lion.
So just randomly hitting the button. I've got adept dog-legged
Oh,
maternal infrate nymphomatic, which is just an interesting combination of words.
I like a dog mage. Okay. So Niant is it's apparently in heraldry, which is a word in which, you know, leopards don't look anything like leopards. But it means if you see like a fish or something that's swimming horizontally as opposed to towards the viewer or whatever, it's called a Niant because they have to have their own special words in heraldry.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. I guess we all have to come up with our own acronym.
I do like the M being magic. I feel like that should probably be a thing,
Yeah.
or magical, or magician, or mage, or something along those.
Adventure.
Wizard.
Because I like the AD being for adventure. And then
Yeah.
adventure, magic, magical, mage.
Adventure, magic, and nonsense.
Yeah.
Magic is nonsense.
Magic is not. Yes. Adventure, magic is nonsense.
It's like friendship is magic, but it's a bit more honest.
Friendship is madness.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what part of this story should be the front-facing part. You know what I mean? It's like I once sort of thought, like the Final Fantasy games are completely disconnected from one another. They don't take place in the same universe, let alone the same world. But they're numbered, which makes it feel like they should be in sequence, but they're not. And so I used to think, well, okay, what would if they weren't numbered, what would they be called? What would their subtitle be? And it's surprisingly difficult in a big game with a large story to work out what a title is, because you have to have one thing that's going to define the name of this game. But what do you make that? Particularly if you've got twists and you don't want to spoil them.
Mm-hmm.
So like Final Fantasy VII, what would that be called? Like, I don't know. I would probably say something like the live stream or whatever, but that in and of itself is just a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin that's used in a lot of different ways. And Final Fantasy VIII would be
Nonsense.
off-screen car crash.
Final Fantasy VIII. Off-screen car crash.
Yeah.
Feels apt.
Gaia sort of makes sense, but that also kind of fits with the other ones as well. I think Gaia is in 9. I think is Gaia. Can't remember. I used to think it was in more games, and then somebody pointed out to me that it isn't. But yeah, but point being is if you have a large game with a lot of story going on, it's actually quite difficult to work out what to call, what specific title to go with. So I don't blame them for just going, it's Final Fantasy VII.
I just find it funny with the history of why it was called Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
And now there's like 15 of them.
This is going to be our last game. We don't have any more money. Oh, it made us a lot of money.
Let's make more.
More. There's the other Final Fantasy. Yeah, now we're coming up to 15, 16. Not including all the spin-offs and sequels. And then obviously because they're numbered, you have to have like Final Fantasy X-2 as a direct sequel to 10. Because you can't use 11, because 11 was a different game. You have to do sub-numbers, like the Dewey Decimal System. Yeah, 16 not including all the others. I don't know how many others there are. There's like Type 0. There's World of Final Fantasy, there's the Dissidia games, there's Final Fantasy Tactics, and yeah, 13.2, 13.3. Whatever. Anyway, point being, we're going to be making like 16 Project VA games. You all right with that?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to be doing this every year.
Mm-hmm. Take up half the year each year.
Yep. I don't consider this a failed experiment. We're going to keep doing this.
Eventually something will come out of it.
Eventually. Enough spaghetti. Now we've come up with some fun ideas.
Apparently the guy who made the Avatar movie has ideas all the way through Avatar 6 and 7, so...
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you made
Is
one
that
small...
out yet?
Did they release Avatar 2?
Yes, it is out.
The fact that we don't know is indicative of something.
Oh no, 16 December.
Right.
So
not yet, but there is a date, and the date is soon.
Yeah, 16 December, it says through Google.
But also, I think, God, didn't George Lucas have plans for, like, 9 Star Wars movies while he was making the first 3?
Possibly.
Because, like, he had plans for sequels way before, and prequels way before. Now, the current sequels that Disney made, I don't think aligned at all with what George Lucas had in mind, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
The movies themselves ended up not going well, but that's what happens when you have corporate interests who are more interested in just printing money than making a sensible plot.
There was a quote that went round of the person who directed the second film, I think, just basically saying, yeah, in retrospect, we should have done things differently. It turns out when you're going to do something like this, it's best to have a plan. It's like, oh, God.
I mean, in his defense, he picked up where the previous movie left off and left some room for a third one. And then the guy from the first movie came in to make the third movie and was like, right, let's just rip out all that carpet, throw it out, do something entirely different, and it understandably went horribly. As the first movie and second movie were like, okay, we're legitimately playing with some previous themes, setting up some potential things, and then the third movie was just kind of like, how about we just not do any of that? And then the fans went, okay, cool. I guess we're not doing this anymore.
For like the next 10 years, we force studios to not make any sequels or remakes or reboots or whatever.
That'd be lovely. Only original things, please. Thank you.
Just,
well,
you know,
I mean, Disney has made some original things. They're just not marketing them.
That doesn't help.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, as a principle, just for the next 10 years, only original things. Just... Because, I mean, I tend to like having sequels and having more stuff, because I am a big fandom enjoyer, and more stuff means more fandom stuff. But also, things suck.
I mean, I think in Disney's case, we need to just have the very specific thing of don't make no sequels of things that you bought from other people.
Also,
I mean,
no
with the Disney franchise, it's just, can you like reboot your company, please?
No, because have you seen their attempts to reboot their previous films? If they try to reboot the company, it's going to come back awful.
I mean, rebooting in a computer sense is usually just going back to, let's just go back to the previous setting, but Disney's setting has always sucked.
Yeah.
Like,
here we are. Hang on. Sorry.
From Walt himself, it has sucked.
But like, if the previous setting is 2D animation, like, hell yeah.
It'd be nice to see a new 2D film. That'd be good.
Yeah.
But hang on, it's you just never really know. But having a plan, I have learned, in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up.
Yeah, to me, that feels like a To me, knowing what I know about the production of the first, second, and third film, and just admin in general, I think he was vaguing there, as it were. Like, he's calling some people out because some people made some bad decisions, and then with the third movie, did not listen to him and made more bad decisions.
He was in charge of a film that cost somewhere between $200 and $300 million. Without a plan. Yeah. If you're gonna make trilogies, make trilogies. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a person who is particularly good at planning or enjoys planning or plans at all, but I'm not in charge of like multi-million-dollar projects.
Yeah, we're in charge of this.
If I was in charge of a multi-million-dollar project, I'd probably actually start planning things.
We're in charge of this, and this is fine. Like, it doesn't matter we don't have a plan for this, that's part of the charm.
Nobody's gonna lose money with this.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they didn't lose money because it's Star Wars. People are gonna go watch Star Wars.
Yeah, but also you'll notice that after the third movie, they've just not really been doing much with it. Like, the same thing happened with Jurassic Park. Like, these are both franchises where it should have been really easy to just go, hey, we could more or less print money with this. But with Star Wars, like, there haven't been any Star Wars movies. And everything they've made is, like, off to the side where only, like, very specific people are going to be interested in that shit.
I was going to say they've made a lot of films, but they've just been all about specific characters, and they've made a lot of TV shows about specific characters, and none of them have been, as it were,
on their specific streaming service that your general fan or just your general population doesn't have access to.
Yeah, I hate Disney Plus. It's made it hard to watch anything from like one's childhood or whatever.
It's also where Doctor Who is going to be from now on. Ugh. So if you were watching that on public access TV before, screw you, Disney bought it.
Disney buys anything.
Fuck Disney. Disney shouldn't be allowed to buy things.
Yeah, if anyone wants to watch Doctor Who, we'll do watch parties. It's fine. I've got it for free.
Yay!
Well, not for free. I pay a license fee, but you know. That's a British thing. Don't worry about it.
Oh no, we have that too.
Oh, all right.
It's stupid. I couldn't afford it for the first 5 years I lived on my own.
It's very expensive.
Massive fines for it. So,
yay.
Yeah, Disney is the reason why a lot of media IP law in the United States is so fucked. They are also part of the reason why it took so long for the entirety of Sherlock Holmes to be in the public domain, which, by the way, that's coming up next year.
Yeah, start of next year.
Get ready to publish your Dracula Sherlock Holmes crossover fic.
Okay, so 16 symbols based around Sherlock Holmes stories.
Ooh.
Oh god.
Write our own Sherlock Holmes mystery without looking at what's coming up.
Yes. I am here for it.
Now, will that be a better or worse result than trying to do Metal Gear Solid 16 symbols?
I do still have that prepared. I'm not sure I want to do it as a stream though, because I feel like it'll just get self-indulgent with me getting into weird conspiracy backstories and then these people are part of this group and so on and so forth, and you're all sitting there going like, what?
At the very least, making it up as we go along works very well with Metal Gear Solid, because that's how the plot feels most of the time in those games.
That's why I thought of doing it. So I was like, there's no generally understood writing structure to a Metal Gear Solid game. It's just, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this. Yeah.
Most either mystery or spy thriller stuff, there's hints of things where if you know going in where it's going, you can be like, here's a hint of that thing. No.
Yeah, no.
Metal Gear Solid is just gonna. It's the spy version of picking up a metal chair, bashing someone in the face. Repeatedly.
Yeah. Repeatedly is the important word there. We will do a draw through of Metal Gear Solid 2 at some point. And that's the fun one. By fun I mean, oh boy, it's the Final Fantasy VIII of the Metal Gear series.
Great.
That's
Cool.
probably the best way of me getting it across.
Can't wait for that.
Anyway, I have wheels. Let me spin them.
Wheels. Spin those wheels.
Spin the wheel. I never did add sound effects to the spinning wheel. I thought it would get in the way.
Whoa.
Woo.
That's
If
the
anybody
dynamite.
just woo. So yeah, if anybody wants to follow the prompt, I just ran it into the
Weapons.
project. I didn't feel it, but it's there. Weapons.
Weapons.
Weapons. Anybody can do
It's a
weapons on the
G.
viaduct. It's a G. What? Oh, one of those weapon.
Yeah, weapons.
Weapon. This is with a silent, non-silent G.
With a Dutch G.
With a
Weapons.
Dutch G. Remember, everybody, in Dutch, weapons is spelled geppens.
I
We're
mean,
learning Dutch, slowly but surely.
weapons.
Weapons. Yes, so anybody has the viaduct, even though there's, I don't know what's on the viaduct, there's like bandits. Highwaymen. Chibi did a good
I'm
highwayman
sure
character.
there's at least some stores where you can buy weapons at the very least.
Oh yeah. There's the whole Mimble central place. I have the caves. I've already done it. Have we done these before? I think we've had this prompt before. They're like the same places with weapons. I think we've already had this because I did there was like the stalactite spear, and I
yeah.
think I did something else as well. Jimmy has floating city. Dark has the harbor. Christy has wizards. Wizard weapons. Ragdoll has the abyss. Plamps has golden city. Lewis has the forest. Kiro has limbo, and Oops has everything.
Everything.
Everything. Limbo Thorn Whip coming up. Yeah. That is actually a prompt for Limbo that we can do something with.
Yay!
Yay! Keep getting bloody characters in a place that has literally 3 characters in it. One of them's a cat.
Mr. Tubbs is a very good cat.
Oh yeah, I'm not dissing Mr. Tubbs. Like, certainly not to his face.
I do like, though, that we've taken the idea of the guard dog of hell and made it into a cat that really only guards the door once, and then after that will just let you in.
I mean,
yeah.
it seems appropriate for cats.
Yeah, sounds about right. You can bypass the fight with some fish.
Yeah.
Mr. Tubbs is great. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna hop back. How do I do that? Hi, stream. I know how this works. Yay. Swoosh. Boom. And close. Because Ragdoll has very kindly. I always forget the word. I want to say transliterated, and that's really not the. This sounds like I just made that word up.
Transcribed?
Transcribed? Yeah, that's probably the one. Transcribbled.
Transcrubbed.
Yeah.
I didn't know the scrub was trans. But yes, it is transcribe.
Transcribed. Scribe is trans. Yeah.
Good for him. Them. Her.
Whomever. Good for scribe. Yeah, so I guess that's a nice time to end,
Yay.
because that's how things
And-
work.
The stream.
And the strum. There it is. Why did the picture change when I transitioned? That's weird. Sorry, I OBS has a thing called studio mode where you can like preview what it's going to go to before you click on the button.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened it up and it had my logo in a style. I can't remember. This might have been Dark Souls or something. Oh no, JoJo. And I clicked on the button to actually transition to that thing, and it changed to Donut County. I was like, what? What? How? What? OBS, you okay?
OBS is fine.
Jojo, Donut County, what's the difference?
It's all the same.
All the same.
Donut, Jonut.
Jonuts?
Jonut's Bizarre County. But yeah, that'll be all. Forever. No.
2 more streams.
2 more of these. Am I saying that in an excited way or in a relieved way? You work that out.
Either way, 2 more.
2 more. But yeah, so I'll be back on Tuesday with more Hitmans.
Hitmans.
And then there's Wednesday with some Muzak, and then Saturday with we're not doing Zambles because Kira's not there. I don't know what we are going to do, or maybe we can do Zambles without Kira. We'll talk about it. Because Kira might be there for the end. We'll discuss.
Hitman, Muzak, and Friends.
And then Friends, and then Sunday with more of this. Second to last, penultimate, without Ragdoll, I think. No, that's the week after. No, that is next. Yeah, next week.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yes, that works. Kira's not here on Saturday. Ragdoll's not here on the Sunday. Makes sense. I mean, Ragdoll, I think, is also not here on the Saturday. You said the weekend, so, but...
Yes.
You know, less relevant.
Yeah. I just didn't want to exclude Ragdoll from not being here.
What?
So yeah, that's all happening. Just as a bit of a heads up, the week after next, there's going to be some friends meeting up and having fun and doing good times, which means that there won't be a stream on Tuesday and Wednesday.
You will be too busy entertaining us live.
Yes, I'm doing a 4-day long stream for Friends Live. No, that's not happening. But I might stream on Monday to make up for there not being one on Tuesday. But we'll see. It's unlikely that anybody else will want to stream, given that they're in a hotel. But
Stream while on the bus, so I have something to do.
Yeah, we could do a hangout or something on Monday, and so that Chib can be occupied on a bus that takes 11 hours. It's the least we can do.
Yay, travel.
Yeah, it's a good time. Lots of solitaire. You probably don't even have a place to do that. Anywho, enough of this. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, next week, as normal, except that Saturday and Sunday slightly different because Kira's not here, Ragdoll's not here. Week after that, no stream Tuesday, Wednesday. Might be a stream on Monday to make up. And then we carry on into the end of the year when everything's going to be messed up because Crumblemas. Crumblemas.
Crumbs and times.
Crumbs and times. Merry times.
Chemical Romance, everyone.
Merry Chemical Romance, one and all. I'm going to leave now. Thank you very much for being here, Kira, and also to Christy and to Ragdoll and to Chib. Bye!
Good night.
Bye-bye.